Alright, this is take two of my little rant for the night. I did start on a different one, but I didn't enjoy it. I didn't really know where to take it, so I kind of gave up on that point because there's a lot of just circling around. But just, start out this like little introduction. I did get the video for the Minecraft world fix, so now it's not just like a blank little screen or whatever, all that stuff. And on top of that, I also was able to, um, just like, all I really did was just explore the world. Like that whole rant from last time was just me wandering, and then eventually I found a village, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna settle up here on this little island. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Right now, I'm just kind of working on building a small little house. But the topic I wanted to talk about today is attempting or the process of filling a hole you feel or one may feel they have in their life, or for example, like when you lose a loved one or someone you are very close to. Oftentimes, for me, and I know this is a pretty common experience, you feel very not necessarily hurt, like it kind of depends on the situation, but you feel like you've lost a part of yourself, and that hole is really hard to fill. And it's I just want to talk about today, like work how the best way to fill that hole in your heart is, like whether it be from the loss of someone or like really it's just two people either losing contact with each other or feeling like you're not whole because you're not with another person, right? So just the way I want to talk about this, like a lot of people I've noted, or like I feel like this is a pretty well commonly known um like little issue or whatever, like, or happening, I guess, right, is when two people, like, let's just take a breakup for example, right? Two people break up. Oftentimes, or a lot of the time, if you're very attached to this person and you're very emotionally connected to them, it really feels like you've lost part of yourself. Like physically, it feels like, wow, I have a hole in my heart, and I am not whole. I am not my true self anymore because I've lost this person. And the issue with that is that it is not a good feeling to feel that way. Like, I felt like that way before in past breakups, for example. And it is awful. It is not like it really does feel terrible. It's like, man, I lost a part of me. I am never going to be able to interact, or I lost a part of myself. And in losing that part of myself, I am no longer whole. I am no longer me. You know what I mean? Right? Like, so you lose part of yourself, and 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 I just want to talk about today, like, man, what is the best way to fix that, or like be like the best, I guess the best way to avoid that feeling, especially when you likely know, or you're trying to prepare yourself for that feeling of losing whole, or finding a way to fill that hole in a safer way, right? So I'm just gonna talk about like breakup terms mostly for this little rant, just because that's kind of what I've been going through recently. So it's a very easy way for me to describe my opinions and stuff like that regarding these things. So the the thing with, right, so let's say like my ex-girlfriend, for example, when I lost her, or when we stopped dating, it wasn't as bad. Or I'm gonna go back to like my very first relationship I ever had, because I was very emotionally attached to this person. We had dated for 9 months, so it was a long time. And right, so when we broke up, I was like devastated. I was like, man, I lost a part of me, and I felt like I had a hole in my heart, and I didn't know how to fill that hole, right? So, and that again, I think there's a lot of, I think that's a pretty common issue. So like, and I just want to talk about like, hey, what's the best way to fill that hole, right? And I think there's like three ways you can go when you feel a hole, like you feel like you're not whole, you feel like you're not part of yourself. One way is to try and I guess retain, or like I guess quote unquote reacquire the person you lost, right? So let's say you broke up with a person, trying to reconcile and get back with them, because that's gonna make you feel like, man, I lost the piece to my puzzle, but it's okay because I got it back, right? Like I dropped it behind the couch cushion. Oh wait, shoot, I got it back. Everything's fine, right? So you could crawl back to your ex or whoever you've lost contact with. You try to reconcile them, and you try to bring back the same peace that you had before. And then okay, so that's one way you could take it. Another way you could take it is replace them with somebody new, whether it be similar or different from you, like similar or different than the last person you're talking to. Right? So you try to replace them to fill that hole in your heart that's already there because you feel like you need a fast fix. So let's say, I break up with my girlfriend, and the first thing I go and do is start trying to talk to a bunch of girls to fill the hole in my self-worth that was taken away from the breakup with my girlfriend, right? So I'm trying to replace her, quote unquote replace her with, just a new girl. And then the final thing is like, so okay, and then the last way you could take this is fill the hole, or like the area of like trying to fill the hole in your heart that was left behind from whoever. The other way, final way to do that is by the other way to do that is by saying, or finding something to replace, like finding a hobby or like just a hobby, something you can do to fill that hole, whether it be through distractions or something like actually like meaningful, like again like learning a skill or a hobby or something. Oh, that music is weird. But like anything along those lines, and trying to fill the hole in your heart by replacing it with a hobby or something to better yourself, right? And the way that works is, of course, like, oh, okay, this house looks terrible. I tried to better myself, right? So I lost my girlfriend. So instead of trying to replace her, trying to get her back, I replaced the hole in my heart that was left by her by something new, like a new passion or a new hobby that I have myself, and I can fill that hole, right? And I think the best metaphor I can put these three methods in is trying to get the old piece back, right? And in doing so, let's say again you lost the old piece in the couch. Well, you lose in the couch, but now the old piece is crushed up, and it'll never be the same or unwrinkled. No matter how hard you try to get it, it'll never be the same as it was before. So you break up with my girlfriend. I lost the piece to my puzzle, and then I try to dig for it in the couch cushions, but now it's all crumpled up and ruined. So I could try to reattach it to my puzzle, but it's just never going to feel the same as it was before because of any ever like lasting effects or emotions or disdain two may have for each other, right? And then another way, of course, filling that hole, I feel like, as I talked about, is trying to replace with somebody new. So that's saying, okay, hey, I've replaced you with, like, so see, again, let's go back to the puzzle piece. Or I guess here's a better way. Like, let's say you have a really nice watch, okay? You have a very nice watch, you love your watch, but then your watch decides to kind of break out on you, and, you lose either you lose the watch or it breaks on you or something like that. And of course, you're not going to be able to fix it or do it. So you buy a new watch that's very similar to the old watch, but it's not the same. So you notice the little imperfections in the new watch you have. And you go, man, I wish I had my old watch back. Even if you're trying to replace your old watch with something new, you feel as though, like, man, this isn't the same watch. I don't feel full. Or like, I guess like a new, my little analogies are not the greatest, but I think you understand my point. And then the last thing you can do is, of course, fill it with a new hobby or something. If this is where I feel like it's more, if you lose someone you love, right, you can replace that hole or that feeling of, like, stuff, you being left, losing that part of yourself, and you can replace that with something that betters you. Like, per se, like I said, a hobby, or meditating, or reading, or eating healthier, or using that as motivation to improve. And by improving yourself, you fill the hole that was left in your heart that was for love for them, and it becomes love for yourself because you feel like you've cared for yourself, you've done what you need to do for yourself, and that hole is filled because the love for yourself has grown into the place of your love for the other person, right? And I really think that is the best way to fill the hole in your heart rather than the other two. Because again, if you try to go back to the person you loved that left you, or you got into a big argument and fight with, if you try to go back to them and try to reconcile, it's never going to be the same. And I mean, like, there's obviously like little stuff, like if you get into a small argument, like, you know, you can go back and fix that. Like, again, I believe in forgiveness. I believe everybody deserves forgiveness for almost anything they do. But like, let's say, you know, it's a really bad, like, multi-month argument, a lot of grudges are built up against each other, right? Or just like a bad breakup or something. So you can't go back to that because a lot of the damage in the relationship has already been done. So, and when that relationship is done, you're never going to be able to fix it. It's like trying to, like, it's like almost like, you know what I mean? It's very, like, you cannot fix that because of the damage that was before. And I really don't think that's healthy, because once it's damaged, let's say you perfected your life, that would be the only quote-unquote, like, wrinkle in your life. And it's like, man, and then it starts to barrel, and you're like, wow, I don't know why I went back to this person when it's never going to be the same as it was, and my heart still isn't full. Because typically, you know, if we go back to the puzzle piece analogy, when one of your pieces gets ruined, it's very hard to put that in the same slot, and oftentimes there's still leftover white space because the puzzle piece doesn't fit in perfectly, right? So when you try to put the old puzzle piece back that you lost or damaged back into your puzzle, then it's not perfect. It doesn't actually fill your hole. It's just a placeholder there, keeping you from acknowledging, hey, this is not good for me, I need to improve. So that's the one way. The other way is, of course, like trying to fill that hole with somebody else. And I think this is mostly bad. This can be like a decent way, but when you're trying to actively fill a hole in your heart that was left by another person, then that relationship you have with the new person, no matter like how you approached it, is not going to end well, because inherently, whether consciously or subconsciously, you're getting into a new relationship where it's like, man, I really miss the old girl that I had, or the old friend that I had, and me, quote unquote, replacing them with this new person. I didn't actually get with this new person because I wanted to get with this new person, but because I needed to fill the hole in my heart that was left by the old person I once talked to or once dated, right? And that inherently creates the disconnect, because it's the same as, like, if you go back to the watch example or whatever, you can replace your old watch with a new watch, but if your old watch was one of a kind, then you're not going to be able to recreate it, and you'll only notice the differences between the old person and the new person, right? Or the old watch and the new watch. And it's going to really hold, and not only is it going to hurt you, but it's also going to hurt the new person you've brought into your relationship. So overall, I think it's a bad idea, but I think the best one, or the best way to take it, is when you're left with a hole in your heart, you should, when you have the hole in your heart, you should replace it. Let's go watch the sunset, sunrise. When you have, or sunset, I think it's sunset, yeah. When you have the hole in your heart, you need to replace it with a hobby or a passion or something to entertain yourself, so that you can grow as a person, or set goals for yourself, right? Like, you use the loss of this person as motivation, and use that to set goals for yourself. And when you set goals for yourself, it helps you become the better, like, just become a better person. And by becoming a better person, you start to become more appreciative of yourself, and that appreciation of yourself grows, and that helps fill the hole left behind from the other person, right? It takes longer, but inherently it's healthier, because your quote-unquote heart, your theoretical heart, grew back naturally because you worked on it, rather than artificially because you put parts that you ought to just shove the part in there to replace the old part, right? Or shove the same part back and it's not functioning. You're growing organically rather than doing it artificially, right? You're not like trying to immediately replace something. You're just trying to work out the main issue with the heart. And then once you fix that issue, you start to love yourself more for it. So, with that being said, when you right? So you have to replace it with a hobby. Or so you can say, for example, for me, when I broke up with my first girlfriend, my way of filling that hole that was left in my heart, and I was like, man, I really miss her. I really did love her. The way I got my mind off of that and the hole patched itself was I picked up going to the gym. Like I got really committed to it. I was like, man, I gotta go to the gym. I think I probably went 6 days a week for a good 3.5 months before a vacation kind of really messed with my schedule. But that helped me. Going to the gym helps me get my mind off of her, while also filling in. It made me be more appreciative for myself, which left me less worried about my appreciation for her or my love for her. And that's also just working with time, because naturally your body, your heart will heal no matter how big the hole is. No matter what, it'll naturally heal, but there are ways you can speed up that process. And I think the best way to speed up that process is trying to be the best you can be, because it's organic and it helps you feel as though, man, I really did not need that old part of my heart. I can now function on my own, and all of the parts that have come together to make my heart are stable. Like, they are a part of me. You can't just up and take one of them, and you can't just leave it. And then I think that's also, once you get to that point, that is your best time to get back into a relationship if you so desire. Because once you feel whole with yourself, you are able to tackle a relationship from a very logical standpoint, and you can make decisions without them being emotionally charged, and you can do what's best for you and for your partner. Right. So the point I'm trying to make here is, when you are, of course, you just want to fill the hole in your heart, you should not fill it with somebody else, but rather you need to fill that hole and make use of that hole in your heart by motivating yourself to become better, no matter what aspect of life it may be. It's, talent or skill or anything. You motivate yourself to become better, and as you become better, you love yourself more. And as you love yourself more, you slowly regrow the love in your heart for someone who actually matters for the rest of your life, and not somebody who's gone or has left you. And um, that was mostly all I had to say. I feel pretty confident myself regarding uh, just like filling the hole in my heart. Just regard like different stuff, and just finding a way to fill that, of course, what makes it best for you and those around you. Um, but yeah, I mean, this wasn't the most well written or beautiful little script. It was very off the dome, and I kind of just wanted to talk to my journal so I can feel a little bit calmer. But yeah, this is not a very long rant. I just wanted to talk. Yeah, that's it. That's everything. I will. I don't know when I'll record next, but I'll make sure I'm going to try and have my topic a little bit more smoothed out so I can make it more structured, all that stuff. Alrighty, that's everything. Later.